Have you ever caught yourself remembering something from the past that's different than how it's known today? Has anyone ever told you that they remember this thing in the same way that you do? If so, you're not alone. The phenomenon known as the Mandela Effect has taken over the internet, in which large numbers of people share false memories of details and events from the past. My name is Xander Rayborn, and today I would like to educate you about this Mandela Effect. Now, in this presentation, we will do three things. We will discover how it originated, discuss some famous examples, and deliberate some theories as to why it occurs. I took interest in this topic because I've been personally victimized by this Mandela Effect, which prompted my own research. So I would like to share with you my findings about this fascinating subject that seems to affect so many people around the world. The Mandela Effect started with the person that it was named for, Nelson Mandela. In 2009, a woman by the name of Fiona Broome discovered that her and all of her colleagues remembered Mandela dying in prison in the 80s during a prison riot. However, at the time, he was still alive. And in 1994, he was elected the president of South Africa. It wouldn't be until 2013 that he actually passed away. Because of the emotional reaction that Broome shared with her colleagues, the term Mandela Effect was born on her personal website, which details her discovery. Now, this example is just the beginning of a phenomenon that has quickly snowballed over the last several years. Now let's take a look at some of my favorite examples that have affected me. One of my favorite book series as a child was the Berenstain Bears. I specifically remember them being called the Berenstain Bears, spelled S-T-E-I-N, from the books that I read with my mother as a child. However, the proper name for these characters is the Berenstain Bears, S-T-A-I-N. That's not how I remember it. Another example is the Fruit of the Loom logo. Many people, including myself, remember some old clothing products that the company produced several years ago that had a logo which featured a cornucopia in the background behind all of the fruit. However, the company has come out publicly and stated that this cornucopia never existed. One last example I will share with you is the lyrics to the theme song, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I remember watching this show every day as a kid, and every episode would start with Mr. Rogers singing, "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood." However, the release of the 2019 biopic for Mr. Rogers revealed the true lyrics to this song, which are, "It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood." Now, I know that seems insignificant, but it matters to the flow of the song. Now, there's a lot of other examples that I encourage you to research for yourself. These examples include the lyrics to the famous Queen song, "We Are the Champions," the monocle allegedly belonging to Mr. Monopoly from the classic board game, and C-3PO's different colored leg in Star Wars, just to pique your interest. Now let's take a look at some theories as to why this occurs. The first theory comes from a neuroscience perspective, in which people are simply collectively misremembering these details and events. The argument is that because memory traces and the framework for associated memories are stored so closely in the brain that it's easy to make false connections between these memories. Another explanation is called confabulation. Now, confabulation is a term that describes the process of your brain filling in missing gaps in your memory with false information. Now, there was some credible evidence that came from the University of Chicago to support this theory. However, they ultimately concluded that the phenomenon could not be tied to one explanation alone. Now, this last theory we're going to talk about, it's a wilder one, and it involves the existence of alternate dimensions. Now, rooted in quantum physics, this theory states that there are alternate timelines to the one that we are currently experiencing, and that these timelines meld with our own. Therefore, we have memories that were formed in different timelines. Now, I'd like for you to ask yourself, which of these explanations do you feel is the most likely culprit for the Mandela Effect, or do you believe something else entirely? Today, we've become a little more educated about the Mandela Effect. We discovered how it was born, we discussed some popular examples, and we deliberated some theories as to why it happens. In conclusion, I would like to encourage you to keep an open mind about this Mandela Effect, as well as the world around us. It becomes more evident every day that nearly anything is possible.